Hey everybody, Joe with Bumbling Acres. I thought I would touch base with y'all in regards to we have finished our first season of our first inaugural chicken tractor that we made, and just thought I'd do a quick critique of what have I learned, kind of what were the benefits, what were my ideas, and and what were the inspirations for it. And what do I think, and moving forward, what I'm going to do. We just took the meat birds, we moved them out of the chicken tractor onto another compounded area where they will be kind of finishing there before we butcher them in the next couple weeks as time and resources allow. So this was our meat tractor, our chicken tractor, first 1.0. Its dimensions are it's 4 feet wide, 8 feet long, and 4 feet tall. I have all made through some cheap 2x4s that I was able to come across. I am not a carpenter, so this was my first experience. Can't say it's my first experience building something, but it's my first experience building something of this nature. And it's my first experience building something in a while. So I wasn't one of those kids that loved to break out and build things. I never built a fort when I was a kid. I did have some knowledge of building when I did. So that kind of helped when I kind of just started from scratch and just knew I needed a meat tractor and what did I need to do for it. So used a couple designs. I looked online. My original intention, the reason why it's smaller than the traditional chicken tractor people talk about, where there's usually Joel Salatin's recommends 10 foot by 12 foot. That was too big for us at the time. I simply felt like we couldn't manage that. We didn't have that many birds that we were going to go through our first season. And I wanted to go this smaller scale, and actually still plan, if we do meat tractors again, I will do a couple smaller ones like this. So that way we could manage the amount of birds that we would need to butcher at one time. We thought we would extend the season out, put 40 birds out at once, and then 2 weeks later 40 more birds, 2 weeks later 40 more birds. That was our intention, that was our plan next year. That may not have worked out, just that was our idea in the beginning. Things that I would have done immediately when I look back, I wouldn't have built it. I built it from the ground up. Started with the base, 8 feet, 4 feet, connected it, then I put the wall supports, quote unquote, on, so that was the 4 feet, and then I put the ceiling on top of it. If I could go back and do it again, I would have actually built it in sections, the walled sections, and then just connected the wall sections to each other. That would have made it easier to put on the chicken wire, and would have made it a little bit less wieldy. That was actually what I was in the process of building, a second chicken tractor that was going to be 8 foot by 4 feet. But instead of 4 feet tall, it would have been only 2 feet tall. So it would have been a traditional, shorter chicken tractor. But my saw broke in the middle of it, and I just had a replacement for it, was able to replace it, so I haven't been able to finish that chicken tractor. But that was my biggest one. If you're going to build one of these, what I'd highly recommend, rather than do what I did, which was just build it from the ground up, was build the walls and then attach the walls to each other. That would have been a little bit easier to structurally support it than it would be trying to flip this thing around while it was being constructed. That's one reason why you'll see these the joists that run from side to side. That's just structurally supported. As I was flipping it, it wasn't strong enough to withstand that. So that would have been managed had I actually just built the walls and then connected the walls to each other. Things that turned out really well, it did make it. Like this, I was not sure this was going to last. So it did. We didn't lose any meat birds to predators. We did lose one bird to they started fighting with each other, and one, basically, it looks like the other birds tangled up and killed it together. So if you're in a controlled area, you probably shouldn't tick off everyone around you when they have talons and a beak. So next year, what we're probably going to do, rather than use chicken tractors, we saw online through the Rhodes homestead, from their adventure where they took the year off and traveled around. What we're going to do is enclose the front area, part of our property, which is probably 100 feet, 200 feet long, somewhere in there, 300 feet long. It's huge, a larger area. Might be about an acre. I don't know my dimensions. We're going to enclose that with electric fence. We're going to do the rather than have a structure which encompasses them. We're just going to build a platform on wheels that's I haven't got the dimensions figured out for that, but the meat birds will be under it during the day, and they can forage out that entire space, and then they will come back there for protection. So that will be what I think we're going to go with next year. So we will actually probably not use the traditional chicken tractors in the future. This will actually serve as a good multi-purpose because of its size. I can simply enclose it and make that into another type of egg layer nest or something that I will probably put back in the area when we enclose and have pigs next year. But what I learned was that actually this was about as much as I could comfortably move on my own. If I had made it 8 feet by 8 feet by 8 feet, or 8 feet by 8 feet, even if it was only 2 feet tall, that would have been heavier than I could move on my own with the being made of 2x4s. If I had used a smaller caliber wood, it would have been lighter, but I didn't have that wood. Like I said, I was able to get these for it's like $2, 8-foot 2x4, so 2x4 by 8. So I couldn't really complain about that, and it worked. So, but that's what I would recommend if you're going to build the chicken tractors. Build it in your sections, your wall sections, and then connect them to each other. We just used sheet metal that we have laying on our property for the roof. I would have overlapped them better. I had never used it before, so that was my first time using sheet metal and putting it together. So that was kind of the lessons of what we learned from having just retired our first season and our first generation chicken tractor. So if you have any ideas on kind of if you've done the style that we're going to do where it's simple covered area on wheels, if you've had experience with that and you've seen kind of ideas of what works well, what doesn't, please message, please put a comment. We're still learning, and I'd love to steal your knowledge so I don't have to learn the hard way, which has kind of been par for the most of my life. So anyway, that's kind of what's on the that's the agenda, that's the thoughts, that's my ideas so far on having just finished using the chicken tractor for the first year. So thank you, Joe at Bumbleacres. Hope you're doing well. Have a great day. Bye.